Hyperdrive Hockey is brought to you by the Game Over Network. Make sure to follow us on YouTube at Game Over Network and catch Hyperdrive Hockey in audio format on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other good streaming platform. Hello, beautiful citizens of Planet Hockey. Welcome to another edition of Hyperdrive Hockey on the Game Over Network. My name is Maxime Vanout alongside Daphne Malbeuf and Kevin Laramie. Please consider subscribing to our beautiful YouTube page, the Game Over Network. If you are watching this podcast and if you're listening to this podcast, well, please subscribe on whatever platform you are using. Leave a 5-star review. I guess you can also leave a 2-star review. That wouldn't be very kind, but you know what? I'm all for honesty in life. We want to improve, but no, please consider leaving a 5-star review, a comment, a like, anything that helps. What a beautiful weekend of hockey that was. What a beautiful week ahead that we have. It's not the storylines that are missing this time of the year, whether it's the Buffalo Sabres being the Buffalo Sabres or the Edmonton Oilers becoming the Edmonton Oilers again, all the way to, I literally just saw this before we go on air. It came out at 1:26 a.m. last night. Alex Ovechkin traveling with the Washington Capitals. Damn, the Russian machine does never break. Daphne Malbeuf, how are you doing?
Very good, Max. And I would say that if you are subscribing or leaving comments, this would be our Christmas present from you to us. So that would be much appreciated. But yeah, less drama this week and this weekend, Max. But
you think?
as you said, no, yeah, it's more subtle drama, maybe.
When the owner gets in the locker room, it travels
that
to go in
drama.
the locker. We will talk about it later, but there is. Look, we're not going to talk about the Buffalo Sabres right away. We will talk about the Buffalo Sabres, but I will just say this. I could be wrong on this, but like it's gonna lay in your head for the couple minutes until we go to the Buffalo Sabres. But I feel like the Buffalo Sabres were kind of protected by the Arizona Coyotes. Like the focus, whenever, like all the negative focus was just always all the time on the Coyotes being such a mess as a franchise, not only on the ice, mostly off the ice actually. But the Buffalo Sabres on the ice are like by a landslide the worst organization in hockey. And right now I'm trying to think, and it's one of the most mediocre organizations in North American pro sports right now. Like really. I'm trying to think of who is more mediocre than the Buffalo Sabres. I mean, I'm thinking New York Jets in the NFL.
That's a good one.
Wow. I'm sorry to the Jets. I'm really sorry to the Jets, but I'm thinking New York Jets.
I'm
trying to...
The Montreal
Go ahead.
Montreal Canadiens?
Absolutely not. They went to the Stanley Cup final in 2021.
That's true. That's true. It's 2017 the last time Buffalo made the playoffs? So yeah, it's a long time ago.
No, it's even further than that. It's
2011.
Oh, 2011.
2011.
Okay, yeah.
It's 13 years.
We're closing in on 15 years. They haven't won a series since they went to the Eastern Conference Final in 07.
Wow.
That means 07? No, maybe not. Maybe that was the first year of the Buffalo Slug. I would have to go back to my sports fashion history book, but I think that either was the first year of the Buffalo Slug or the last year of the Goat Head, which has come back as a retro jersey to give you an idea. That is absolutely crazy.
That is
okay.
cool.
Sorry. We're not talking about the Buffalo Sabres right away. We will talk about them in about 10 to 15 minutes. We will talk about the Vancouver Canucks, the Toronto Maple Leafs. We have a lot to talk about today. But first, we were treated to a Stanley Cup Finals rematch on Monday night between the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers. First of all, I'm really happy that the Edmonton Oilers ended their annual we're bad phase. Like the Edmonton Oilers are kind of like coming of ages. Like they're a coming of age team. Like every year they have like it's not a phase mom moment. It's always at the start of the year. And they had it. Now they're back. It was a heck of a game, 6-5, a comeback win for the Cats. The Bob playing a bad game, but robbing Leon Draisaitl in the closing seconds of the game to seal the victory. And now that the Edmonton Oilers tough start is behind us, we know what Leon and Connor can do in the playoffs. I am not a Stuart Skinner fan, but he did prove to me last year that he can backstop a team at the very least all the way to a cup final. And I do wonder, because betting odds still have the Edmonton Oilers as the cup favorite, which I always think is like, I feel like in hockey, maybe I'm wrong on this. I feel like in hockey, like, I think that betting books, sports book and all that, like, maybe put a bit too much emphasis on the best player on a team. Like, this is true in football. This is true in basketball. This is probably true in soccer. Kevin, you know a bit more than me about this. But, like, in hockey, I don't think it's as true. Like, having Connor McDavid does make your team instantly better. But I do feel like right now, these two teams might still be the team to beat, Def.
Yeah, and you're looking at what the Oilers did in the last few games, and you just said it. It's that time of the year when you're just like, oh, and just like that, the Oilers look like Stanley Cup contenders all over again, and you're looking at what they did good in that 5 straight wins in that stretch. They got to beat Tampa, Minnesota, Vegas, and it seems like what's been working for them is that everything was balanced. It's definitely a change of narrative here from what we've seen in the past couple of weeks. They have climbed it out of the depths of the NHL standing, and you look at this and you're like, okay, they're leading the lead in expected goal differential. They're ranking 4th offensively, 2nd defensively. You've said it, Stuart Skinner has been solid in the net. And Zach Hyman looked completely transformed. The machine is up and running for him ever since December 5th. 7 goals in 6 games. Previously, he had only 3 goals and 5 assists in the first 20 games of the season. And you've been looking at this guy, and he had kept doing the right things, you know, but he wasn't able to capitalize on it. Yeah. He was struggling to get the puck in the net. And, you know, he did come around this. His shooting percentage was 6% not too long ago, and now it's up the charts. So everything was working well for the Oilers. Everything was pretty much balanced. But when I look at the game yesterday, Max, I'm just like, what seems to work in the last few games is perhaps what hurts them the most yesterday, because they have been doing so much better lately defensively and in the net. And last night was not it. Last night was not it.
That was the good old Oilers.
Yeah.
Can't outscore your problems type of game. But, you know, I am at a point where I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Are we at a point where Leon Draisaitl is actually underrated? Because the man has 15 points in his last, 6 games? He's single-handedly carrying my pool right now, my fantasy hockey team. He has at least 2 points in each of those games. It's not a 6-game point streak. It's a 6-game, 2 points a game streak. And still, one of the narrative around Leon Draisaitl is he would not be like a top 5 player in the league like he is without Connor McDavid. I've never agreed with that statement, but I do feel like right now, even if like McJesus is doing his thing too, but I don't know, I may be wrong on this, and Oilers fan in the comment, let us know, but right now, I feel that for a very rare moment, you know, Leon Draisaitl right now to me is carrying the load a bit more. I feel like he's the man right now, and this is not a diss toward Connor McDavid. This is a luxury of having those 2 players. But kind of like, even we've very often said in the past 20 years that when Crosby gets injured, Malkin steps up. But Malkin has done more than that in his career. Malkin, like, he was the Conn Smythe winner, their first cup, all the way back in 08, 09, 08. 09. Oh my God, I can't believe I didn't get this first try. I'm so not proud of myself here. I'm ashamed. I'm sorry. I'm going to go bang myself.
I'm very proud that I knew.
Yeah, that's... Oh, I can't believe. Just 1 second of hesitation, huh? And then the puck is in the back of the net. No, but all this to say, like, Malkin has that reputation, but he's also been able at times to just beat a man. And I do believe that it's weird that throughout his whole career, Malkin, I feel like he's always had the benefit of the doubt. I feel like it is known that Malkin would have been a top 3 center in his prime in the NHL for a few years had he not played for the Penguins. And I feel like Leon doesn't get that benefit of the doubt sometimes.
And I don't know why, because if you look at what he did in the previous seasons in the playoffs, I mean, he was carrying the load and sometimes on his own. And if we're looking at what he did when McDavid was in there for a
You want a
couple of
Hart
games,
Trophy, for fuck's sake. Sorry.
yeah, I'm like, yeah, no, but I'm like, give the man his letters, please. Like, give him what he deserves, because he has shown to me, he has clearly shown that he is not just what we see to him when he's with McDavid. He can carry the load on his own. And yeah, for me, it's, I don't know if it's like, if, because McDavid is always there, is never injured, so like it's hard to see it when they're apart. But I feel like he's been showing it at least with the performance that he had in the playoffs in the past seasons.
Yeah. And Leon is one of the players whose points per game average goes up the most in playoffs. We're talking close to a half a point per game more per playoff. That is absolutely berserk.
He becomes a whole other person, and like he is already absolutely an elite player. I don't know like what he drinks. Like it feels like he's drinking a potion from Asterix and Obelix. But yeah, he's becoming like this revolution Pokemon in the playoffs. So yeah,
He's going full Charizard.
Fully Charizard.
And he's already a Charizard in the season, so that's crazy. I think there is now a Mega Charizard evolution.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the
there is
ones.
Yeah, like Charizard goes even like almost like Digimon style. I'm sorry, this is way too geeking out on childhood things from the late 90s here. Kev, you were working the game yesterday. You said it, there was not good goaltending, but one of the keys to the success of the Oilers in the past few games, at least since the start of December, before Monday night's game against the Panthers, was Lil Stewart. Lil Stewart was on the roll with a .937 save percentage and a 1.77 GAA before last night's game. Of course, that all went down the drain. I'm never going to be confident in Stuart Skinner, but what can I say?
Well, that's the thing, right? The good thing is they have a good offense, and I've thrown Stuart Skinner under the bus before because we know that he's going to be like that, but at least he has the offense to palliate those type of defensive performances. But I want to tip my hat to Leon Draisaitl too, just before we move on. With his performances yesterday, he is now the top goal scorer in the NHL with 23 goals, just in front of Kirill Kaprizov and Sam Reinhart. Let's not forget Sam Reinhart. Last night, 1 goal, 1 assist, +3, the heart of the Panthers. But Leon
Imagine if the Buffalo Flyer, well, imagine if the Buffalo Sabres had that type of player on their team.
Exactly.
Sorry, go ahead now.
And also, he's now just 3 points away
Flyers.
from McKinnon and the top point getter of the league. So with the last 2 weeks, Leon Draisaitl is now top 5 in goals and points, and he might be first before the end of the week.
I have something to say, Max, though, because you were
Please
asking
do.
us if, they were the team to beat from now on. And that being said, with all the Oilers did great in the past few games to, have maybe more consistency and just like this 5-win streak, you're looking at maybe their biggest problem is Stuart Skinner, because they can do so much offensively. They can try to get everything right defensively. And you have this goaltender who can perform at an A level, but you need it when it counts the most. And looking at the performance last night, you're like, we needed you. Where were you? And I feel that this is the scenario with Stuart Skinner, but you can get some good play of him. But when the Oilers are in good position, he's shown that he's capable, but he's also shown that he has massive inconsistency. This is a huge issue, because despite everything that they can do good, this can be hurtful, and you cannot keep hurting your team like this.
No,
And
I agree.
also, I look at what Connor Brown said last night, and it was like if they are to continue in that way, I feel that the Oilers also need to take maybe another step forward defensively. Connor Brown said, success for a group has been our defensive play, our ability to
Yeah.
defend. That makes you a consistent team. So I feel that to take that step forward, they will need also more consistency on the defensive side.
Hey, you know what? Apparently, Vincent Desharnais on the trading block already in Vancouver. So why not bring back his good friend Vincent Desharnais just for moral support? But it's funny
Absolutely.
because, despite the fact that they are obviously not first in the Eastern Conference, they're not even first in their division, the Florida Panthers. I feel that by the fact that they won the Eastern Conference in the playoff 2 years in a row, like, heavy as the crown, like, you got to beat them in the playoff. They're still the team to beat for me. Like, they're the team for me
Yeah.
to beat in the East. I'm not sure if the Oilers get that same benefit of the doubt right now. First of all, they're third in their division. They had a bad start. So I do not know. If you had to ask me right now, who's the team to beat in the West right now, I'm not as convinced. I think I'm saying the Oilers just because, but the thing is,
Yeah.
I would have loved to say the Dallas Stars, but they're behind the Wild and the Jets right now. So the Stars have not gone that extra mile. They have not gone to the Cup final. Like, they don't, do they get that title despite not? So it really, you could say the Vegas Golden Knights, who are not that far back from winning the Cup.
Yeah.
It's more,
They were the team to beat like last season or two
Yeah.
seasons ago.
yeah. So it's tighter in the West. It's tighter in the West. There is not a clear-cut favorite who gets the benefit of the doubt. I would still say by a very small lead, the Oilers, despite being third in the Pacific.
And maybe the difference is if you compare them to the Panthers, you're looking at the Panthers and you're like, all the core guys and all the guys who bring the identity to that team are successful.
Yeah, and
Night
they've
after
earned the
night.
right to be on the cruise control in the regular season. They really have, and I'm
They
saying this
have
as
to.
if they're not playing well. They're third in one of the best division in hockey.
Yeah, but they have
And
to
not that far
because
back.
like there's no, you need to keep gas in the tank.
Yeah. I said third, I meant second. I'm sorry. They're tied with the Leafs, who have a game in hand at the moment we are recording. So, I'm saying this as if they're so far behind. Like, they're so not far behind. I have one question and one question only for the Panthers, guys. Is will that team still have gas in the tank come spring? This is the only, it's not a decor that is as deep as it used to be to me. I love the Bob. He is pushing closer to 40 every year. I think that one of the key would be to find a way to keep the Bob more rejuvenated come springtime. So maybe more games to Spencer Knight. Spencer Knight is working his way back in the NHL. He's not that good. He's not that bad so far this year. He's not as good as a backup as I thought he could be back from the personal health problems that he's had fighting an OCD. But yeah, this is the only question I have for the Panthers. Can they add depth on D, and will they have enough gas in the tank? Because other than that, to me, they can still do a very deep playoff push this year.
And they're going to be able to do so if they are consistent as they are, if the core is as successful as it is. But it is hard to do so when you have went that far in the last two playoffs and you are the team to beat. I feel that this is where it's hurting them. Like, every single night they need to be at their best and fully prepared and fully energized and pressing the speed button all over again. So this is maybe what hurts them,
If I can,
because they have the target in their backs.
I really agree with what you're saying, and also They lost 8 core players after the Stanley Cup. When we're looking at players that left on free agency, Montour. 8. Montour, Tarasenko, Ekman Larson, Lawrence, Kevin Stenlund, Nick Cousins, Ryan Lomberg, and Anthony Stolars. Those are 8 players that were there winning the Cup and had a role in the team. Either top 4D, 2 of those, and some of them were also depth players, but your backup, Anthony Stolars, has now stolen the show in Toronto. So those make a big difference, and I think it's going to be a big load management time for Paul Maurice.
Yeah, we know that the importance of that players come playoff time. You know, you can ask that to a lot of teams. Hello, beautiful Toronto. The Panthers, without any pun intended, are a well-oiled machine. All right, we have a lot to talk about, and we absolutely need to talk about not chicken wings, but we need to talk about Buffalo.
Oh, Max, and people from Buffalo.
People.
People from Buffalo.
Is this the new worldwide anthem? People.
Absolutely. Because at the beginning of this season, Max, we all have faith. We all thought for the first time in a long time, Buffalo could once again look like a team with a chance to at least make the postseason for the first time in forever. And we've said it since 2011. It's been 13 years. And we're looking at this and we're like, okay, we're now spiraling further into the abyss. This is completely a new scenario. This is not what we've planned. This is not what we've imagined. And after Buffalo Sabres lost 10 straight games, and the head coach, Lindy Ruff, said he's almost lost for words as he was trying to figure out what's wrong with this team. The owner, Terry Pegula, decided to travel to Montreal to meet with his team at the Bell Center on Monday. And you're looking at this, Max, and you're like, at this point, everything should be on the table.
It should, but also let me ask you a question.
Okay.
So you've said it, the Buffalo Sabres, you know, I've been rotting in the outside of the playoffs for so long now. The last time they won a series was in 2007. They've been rebuilding and rebuilding and rebuilding. Actually, it feels like the building has never been completed. They've stripped it down, realized that they had missed the foundation, went back, repaired the foundation, and Jack Eichel was a very good pick. He went on into Vegas to win a Stanley Cup. Ryan O'Reilly, who they acquired as a young player, but still was a veteran already when he was in Buffalo, went on and was a playoff MVP in St. Louis. Let me ask you this. The GM came out a few days ago, saying what to me appeared like complaining. Oh, we don't have palm trees and we have taxes. What can we do? Whoa. My man, I'm sorry, but number one, this is your job. It means all you have to do is draft well. The problem is you've been drafting well. I mean, when you look at the top players that they've drafted, they've all become very good players in the National Hockey League. Jack Eichel is, Sam Reinhart is, Owen Power might be the less good of the bunch, and he's not that bad at all. Rasmus Dahlin is a very good defenseman. We can go on about this. They've not all been home run. Some of them have missed, but overall, they've drafted well. But are they sending the message? Has it come to a point where they're sending the message that, well, if it's not going the way you want it, you're going to be traded elsewhere, and you're going to have success. So basically, as this organization send the message that they will not hang on to you and they will not let you figure it out, basically, have they created an easy way out for all the players that go there? It's the question I have.
Not easy, because sometimes it takes a lot of time. Talk to about it to Jack Eichel, but it's everything I was going into, Max, because I think you need to dig deeper and look at those familiar pattern, because you're looking at those guys, Jack Eichel, Sam Reinhart, so many players came there before and haven't found their way in Buffalo. And after being traded, they were absolutely killing it wherever they've gone next. So you are wondering, what is the deepest, like, what is the deeper problem here? And I think you're hearing your GM saying that. I mean, this is depressing. And it for me, when you're looking at that, you're like, this is a problem of culture. This is it's at the core. And is it the GM? Is it, and afterwards, you've said it, you need to have faith in your players. And this is exactly what Pegula said yesterday, like reassuring the team that he feels that the solution is within them and it can be found at the very core of this team. But also, you're looking at this and you're like, is this really the solution? Do we have what it takes to figure this out internally? I don't know. But it's a really, for me, at the core of this problem is the culture.
Let me so Mr. Pegula, of course, is also the owner of the Buffalo Bills in the NFL. And right now, you could look at the Buffalo Bills, or if you're listening to this and you're not familiar with the NFL, the Buffalo Bills are one of the best teams in the NFL. They have been one of the best teams in the NFL for a few seasons now. They're unable to go all the way. They have Patrick Mahomes on their way, but they have been one of the good organizations in the NFL for a while. They have not been historically. The Buffalo Bills have been historically bad. As a matter of fact, the Tom Brady haters have been saying for years that Tom Brady would not have had this good of a career if he wasn't in a division with three, how do I say this politely, three historically ordinary franchises: the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Bills. So let me ask you this. Could there be, because right now, the Buffalo Bills are, in a way, it's not just pure luck, but they're lucky. They have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And in the NFL, having one of the best quarterbacks in the league almost, it's not a guarantee, but almost instantly make you a very good team. You can't have that in the NHL. And the Buffalo Bills not the Buffalo Bills, I'm sorry, the Buffalo Sabres, like, do you remember the reaction when they did not win the Connor McDavid lottery back in 2015? That was 9 years ago now. That was 9 years ago. But it was the worst thing that ever happened to them. There were even comments back then. Like, I don't remember, was it the GM? Was it Pegula? But I do remember the quote of him saying, like, that is not fair. Like, they were historically bad that year. They wanted McDavid. They didn't get him. But they're at a point where I do wonder, even if they had gotten McDavid, would it have changed anything?
Yeah.
I do wonder if at the top this organization is well managed enough, or is it just like the least favorite children of the parent? I don't know, but I do wonder if it's because they've tried different head coaches, they've tried different GM, they've tried to let go of players that we thought were the rotten apples. As you've said, we've learned along the way that finally maybe they weren't the rotten apple. They went on and won Stanley Cup, most of them. Actually, Reinhart, Eichel, and O'Reilly. Like, we're talking three superstars.
I know.
Or maybe O'Reilly isn't a superstar, but, you know, he won the freaking Conn Smythe. The heck am I saying here? So I think it's at the top. I think it's at the very top of the hierarchy.
Yeah. And you're looking at this, and even Lindy Ruff doesn't know what to do anymore. I don't know if we can hear what he had to say, but he responded that to the question how shocking it is to see this losing streak with so much talented player on this team, and he replied that.
How shocking is this with this team, with some of the guys?
I'm almost lost for words. Obviously, it's on me to solve this. This is the toughest solve I've been around, but it is on me to get these guys in the right place to win a hockey game, and nobody else, just me. Thanks.
He looked, and he said it, like, I had never been more tense and tired. You know something is wrong, because he was willing to take the heat on this one hand, and he took the blame, and just like trying to, you know, maybe stabilize things by deflecting the pressure from his players' shoulders and putting on into his. But he can do it on his own. And you're exactly right. You're looking at the team and you're like, we have premium pieces in there that could be great, but somehow it's just not working out. So
I'm curious to hear you guys on this because I'm a bit conflicted regarding those words by Lindy Ruff. Because on one hand, I'm like, freaking Lindy Ruff. What, close to 2,000 head coached games in the NHL. He came back to Buffalo this year. He played for Buffalo. He was the head coach there for over a decade. He was the head coach when they went to the Stanley Cup Finals all the way back in 1999. So on one hand, I'm like, man, if freaking Lindy Ruff, he's basically Gandalf or Obi-Wan or Dumbledore. Like he's the old wise man who has everything under control. And now you're not supposed to see the old wise man look vulnerable like this.
No.
It's kind of like when Dumbledore drank that water in the 6th Harry Potter and he's suddenly so vulnerable. And you're like, I don't want to see this. You don't want to see this. You don't want to see your grandparents get old, It's the type of... But on the other hand, when the Buffalo Sabres hired him this summer, I was like, oh, really? We're turning back the clock? Is that the way to go? I was skeptical. So on one hand, I'm like, oh man, if even such a veteran head coach doesn't have the solutions, who will? But on the other hand, I'm also, there's this devil on my shoulder going, yeah, but was such a veteran head coach the solution? So a bit conflicted there for me.
yeah, and maybe he was the right choice, and maybe this is kind of, we've talked about the problem is ahead and on the top of the organization. They are the people who are taking the decisions, and this is one of the choices that they've made that we can clearly debate about, because you're looking at this, you're like, have the players failed Lindy Ruff, or has Lindy failed to change the culture and get most out of his group in Buffalo? And you're looking at this also, and you're like, you're not going to fire the coach that you just hired. So this
unless you're the Blues.
Yeah. No loyalty. We want loyalty by a dog.
Please do.
Also,
Maybe.
Going back to the X is never the solution. That works for hockey and for other things,
Yeah.
but you miss a
Proven in Montreal.
yeah, you miss the feeling, you go back, but what you actually are missing is not the feeling, but the memories that you'll never get back. And that's what's
wise
happening
words.
here with Buffalo. I think they say, let's go back to when we were good. You go back to who the coach was, but it's never good enough because that time will never come back. It has gone, and you have to move on.
Absolutely. And what Pegula said, but he is sending like wrongful message, also like just like weird messages, because it's confusing. I don't know for you, Max, but Pegula said, like, we believe in Kevin Adams and the front office that they build a good team. The solution is within this team, and he apparently told players not to expect big trades.
Yeah.
So what are we doing here? We trying to shake things up and see, like Christmas Miracle in the 34th Street.
But you know what? At this point, like I said, I do question if they've not this organization hasn't given their players the impression that, it doesn't work, I'm just going to get traded. And so, you know what? Kevin said it beautifully. I think that we're going to have to wait and see, but clearly it's another wasted season in Buffalo.
Yeah. And wrongfully for the fans who have been there and behind this team for so long. I hope that this can come to maybe a good end, but yeah, it's really hard to see where we are heading and in what direction this is going to take. If we're thinking about a team that has been doing good, we've been talking about the Oilers, Max, but the Ottawa Senators, on the other hand, are rising. And we were talking about it just like, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. And we were like, Where are they heading? We thought it was over, like same but different, and then we were like, no, this is the same scenario over and over again. We are disappointed, blah blah blah. And just like that, they've changed and they've turned things around, maybe thanks to Linus Ullmark, maybe thanks to him.
Thank you. It was the right trade. I've been saying it all along. I was doubting myself. I shouldn't have doubted myself. Linus Ullmark was underwhelming since the start of the season. It wasn't, the defense ahead of him was okay. It wasn't that bad. And then he has arrived, baby. 501, 1.31 GAA, 956 save percentage in December. And maybe the most impressive was his back-to-back performances on Friday and Saturday, because of course, being 2 games in 24 hours, Anton Forsberg was supposed to be in net on Saturday. He tweaked something in warm-ups or whatever. He gets injured just before games. And so Linus Ullmark has to go in. So already it's tough for a goalie. Like, I mean, it's your job. Yeah, sure. But the preparation isn't the same. And us goalies, we're weird. We need our little things. We need our little routine. We need all that. And so that's already tough on a back-to-back. And Linus Ullmark came in and he won the game for the Senators against the Pittsburgh Penguins. They needed him to be good. He was good. And he has arrived. And if he keeps this up, let me tell you a thing. The Ottawa Senators will make the playoffs. If Linus Ullmark is the player he needs to be, the Ottawa Senators will make the playoffs. Yes, right now it helps that the New York Rangers are the biggest mess in hockey, but I do not see any teams under them right now. Of course, trades can happen, but I do not see a team under the Senators getting ahead of them, except the Rangers if they turn things out with the way Linus Ullmark is playing. They are not having goaltending right now. They are experiencing elite goaltending, and this is what elite goaltending can do to you. Pay the goalies, people. Trade for goalies, pay the goalies. Goalies can make a difference. Good job, Ottawa. I'm proud of you. Good job.
And Brady Tkachuk, who's firing everything at the net and playing as angry as ever, he is kind of just being on the side, on Linus Ullmark's side, being like, I'm here with you, my boy.
Do you think that the rumors lit a fire under him?
Maybe it got him going. Maybe
because we question his leadership. We question if he wanted the easy way out.
I don't think he ever wanted the easy way out, but I think maybe he feels like he has something to prove. Maybe. And this is good for him because I think that this type of guy, as we talked last week, he needs that to fuel him. He needs people to doubt him. And he's like, I'm gonna prove you wrong. I'm gonna prove you that I'm a good leader on this team, and maybe not as effective as his brother, but anyway, it worked. It worked. So Ottawa Senators, 3 straight wins, 5 wins in their last 6 games. And I'm looking at this, Max, and I'm kind of maybe worried because they are about to hit the road for a 9-game trip, which could be a make or break for the next few weeks.
This is where we will know. But according to my sources, they will hire Kevin Laramie as a nunu to be Mrs. Doubtfire for them, so they will be good. Yeah,
I'll be gone until January. 9 straight games on the road for Ottawa. And the reason is, if you're not aware, they're having the World Juniors Championship in Ottawa, and the arena will be busy. And it's not just a long trip, it's also a trip against very good teams.
It's a tough one.
It's one of the worst trips I've seen. So I'll let you talk for a second. I have the teams right here, and I'll be right back with the teams.
This would be a barometer sequence for them.
Yeah, but no, they're going out west. They're playing they're playing most of the good teams from the west in this trip.
Seattle, Calgary, Vancouver, Edmonton, Winnipeg, Minnesota, Dallas. So Minnesota, Winnipeg, Dallas, all back-to-back. December 28th, 29th, and January 2nd. Then St. Louis and Detroit. So, that's a very tough trip.
Yeah. But this is why the Linus Ullmark bounce back is so important. Because if there is one player who can turn things around for a team who is bad on the road, it's an elite goalie.
Yeah. If they're winning, they need to go overtime in a few of these ones, at least. But if they can win 4 and go overtime for 2 more games on this trip, that would be.
You know what? I'm gonna be less severe than you. If they play 500, just 500, it's going to be a decent trip. A good trip would be 4-3-1. 4-3-1 for me would be a good trip.
Yeah.
5 win is an excellent trip. 6 win, we're popping the champagne like we won a championship game.
Yeah, mostly. Like, you have to look at this this way, but I'm eager to talk about this trip when we come back from Christmas. I want to talk, Max, because I already apologize because at the beginning of the season I was talking about John Tavares and I was like, where is he? I don't feel like he wants to play, like he doesn't have like the power, and everything changed since I said that. And I don't want to say that I I positively jinxed him, but
you did it.
I feel like maybe having the C of his chest, maybe, pull the weight off his back, the pressure now is off his shoulder. And if we're looking at this, he's on pace for a 40-goal season, like after his disappointing season last year. And I'm like, who is he? Like, and why does he he's so much pumped up? Like, does he feel like it's his last chance maybe to win with the Leafs?
Well, probably. I mean, you don't post that picture in your pajamas all the way back then and come out of Toronto after that huge contract with only one playoff series win. But, right now I'm asking myself, should they put the C back on him? Because he's acting like a captain. He is acting like a captain. And to me, it's very interesting to see, the way he's playing right now. Is there any way they're going to find a solution to sign him to a lesser contract and keep him? This is going to be interesting to see. But I don't see it. You're going to have to sign Mitch Marner. I don't see it. It can't happen. But yeah, it's fun to see. Because, he is pushing his mid-30s now. Is it just that he knows he's playing for a contract? Honestly, I highly doubt it. I really, really doubt it. But he kind of feels like the glue of the Leafs right now.
Yeah.
Despite losing the C.
Yeah. And maybe it's because this guy is more comfortable without the pressure on his shoulders.
Who said that already? When he left the Islanders, they were saying that he was the most selfish superstar out there, only thought about his own personal stats. It's funny because in personality, he's never felt that way to me. I mean, say what you want about John Tavares. After breaking a goddamn Wayne Gretzky record as a rookie in the OHL, I mean, let me repeat that, a Wayne Gretzky record. The hype was through the roof. We thought he could be as good as Sidney Crosby. Obviously never became as good as Sidney Crosby. But he was still a superstar in his own right. And he was a very good player for the New York Islanders. And he might not have delivered on that hype that was really high, but he always felt like a really classy guy to me. And I remember when he signed in Toronto, so that was after 1 year of Austin Matthews only. I remember back then some beat journalists in Montreal telling me that the second he came in, they felt a difference in Marner and Matthews and how they addressed the media in their second year. They suddenly felt much more mature, much more respectful. And they said that John Tavares came in and said, guys, they have a job to do. You have to respect them. You might not like it, but you got to respect the media. And this was the early influence he had on those guys, which it always struck a chord with me. So I don't think you can neglect the positive impact he's had on the Leafs despite the disappointment in the result of the team.
Yeah, and like this guy has like he's maybe not the most like out there and like
say it. He's boring. He's a hockey player.
Yeah.
He's a boring hockey player.
I feel I didn't want to say like this, but yeah, like he doesn't bring me like any emotion. Like he's just like he's kind of a Max Pacioretty.
He has zero charisma. Well, let's be honest.
Yeah.
You know what? Max Pacioretty, in terms of personality, is a very good comparison.
Yeah. I insist
on personality.
They're very similar. But this guy has a presence, and it's shown. And over the years that he was there as the captain, and now I feel like he's really willing to push with this team to go as far as they can get.
Yeah.
Hopefully, is the final the final stage, but. Yeah, I'm like, I gotta give him credit for that because I thought he would maybe, be not sloppy but just like less motivated. And we saw what it could do with a guy like Trouba who was disengaged. And I thought maybe that could be the case with him, but no. So it's good for the Maple Leafs, who will have him and hopefully his 40 goals season. I'm not sure about this one, but he's on pace for it. So let's hope. Let's cross fingers. Everything that can be, positive for the Leafs fan, they will take. So, Max, I want to talk about the Canucks because we were talking about how they were not good in their home stance. They had 6 games home stretch to try to turn their fortune around at home. And, they won against the Colorado Avalanche on Monday. So they set their records to 3-2-1. So 3-2-1. It's not bad. It's not great. And if we're hearing some of the comments that Rick Tocchet made, he's not too happy about the way that his players are right now. He questioned the emotional engagement of some of them. And I can blame him because you're looking at the past 3 games and you're like, this is what we've been talking about all season long, is the inconsistency.
Yeah, a roller coaster. It's so, how can you beat the Panthers in such convincing fashion, then get a beat down of your own against the Bruins, and then playing a very good game against the Colorado Avalanche? Kiefer Sherwood, baby. I just want to say that Kiefer Sherwood is the greatest hockey name of all time. I'm gonna rest my case. This is the greatest.
You're
right.
You
cannot be named Kiefer Sherwood and not become an NHLer.
No, but there's somebody sleeping on the marketing department somewhere because he's playing with like a Bauer hockey stick.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he's not Connor McDavid.
You should just be playing with a Sherwood. Come on.
You should. Yeah, you really should.
Make sure we do it again.
But it's not just it's the whole name. Kiefer Sherwood. What a heck of a name. You come across you read that name, you don't see the guy. You're like, oh, he's a tough son of a gun who plays like a tough sport. Yeah, he plays hockey. Yeah, he's a hockey player.
I
love the name.
Doubt.
Beautiful name. Beautiful name. A Kiefer Sherwood hat trick is just what the world needed. Now all the wounds are healed. All jokes aside, to me, I'm just curious to see, because every week I'm looking at the Canucks, I'm hearing things coming out of Vancouver, and I'm like, oh, they're not in a good moment right now, and they're in the playoffs. They've been in the playoff most of the season. They're probably going to stay in the playoffs. Things are tight in the West, but I understand Rick Tocchet, and I understand Rick Tocchet because he was a tough son of a gun. Yeah. He likes a hard-nosed type of hockey. I feel like JT Miller is a Rick Tocchet type of player. I don't think Elias Peterson is a Rick Tocchet type of player. And I personally love Elias Peterson, but You know, when he said that some players allow themselves to have a good game and then take 2 or 3 nights off, I kind of feel like, you know, the gun was pointed at a certain number 40.
Yeah, and it's not the first time that he called out like his club. Like he did it a couple of times. He also apologized to the fan base. So clearly he has seen some things that concerns him and he wants to address them. And yeah, you're looking at all the talent that this team's having, high talent, but you're like, this is not maybe evident and on display every night out this season.
Yeah, well, since going on an amazing 15 points in 10 game stretch where we were like, all right, EP is back, he has 2 points in 5 games. He has, and they both came in the same game against the St. Louis Blues. He's played only 14 minutes against the Panthers. He's played only 15 minutes against the Bruins.
And I feel like that most of the nights they've been letting, you know, like the heavy lifting to Quinn Hughes and Kevin Lankinen.
Yeah, I agree with that. Quinn Hughes is going to need some help back there because he's playing amazing minutes. He's doing everything he can. But my man needs a breather. My man needs at least 1 more minute on the bench every night. He is young. He's a professional athlete. But my man needs a breather. 25 minutes total per game. That is 1.5 minutes more per game than Philip Hronek. That is 5 minutes more than Tyler Myers. In fact, the first left shot D on the average per night is Carson Soucy after him. He's 5.5 minutes less per game than Quinn Hughes. They're going to need a left shot D.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because he wouldn't be able to do it on his own, like not an 82 game season. You need to get him some help. Yeah. Poor boy. But I hope that this Rick Tocchet message will be heard. Hope for the Canucks that they can have better home games also. They're trying slowly but surely.
So basically the Canucks need to send a bit of their road skills to the Sens. Like, you know what? Exchange of gifts. In an exchange of give, this is the season of giving. This is the season of love and of sharing. And so, if the Ottawa Senators could just a little bit, not too much, just a little bit of what their recipe is at home. We all have, like in our families, like good homemade dishes that we will never know the secrets of because it's grandma's dishes, it's your aunt's dishes. But the Ottawa Senators need to be in a sharing mood and share just a little bit of what are the spices that make them such a good home team. And in return, the Vancouver Canucks need to give them their secret of what makes their dishes so good on the road. There, we have it. This is what we need.
We'll
have 2 more Canadian teams in the playoff. Everybody wins. We want all the Canadian teams in the playoff.
Well, maybe
we're willing to cheer for any one of them.
Yes, I don't want just the Leafs and the Oilers in the playoff. I mean, nothing against them, but I in the perfect world, the 7 Canadian teams are in the playoffs.
One of the ingredients that I think is missing too in Vancouver, it surprised me for a team managed by Rick Tocchet, that's coached by Rick Tocchet, it's block shots. And I don't know if that's what he means also when teams are involved. They're 28th in the league with only 428 block shots. That means that they're not necessarily willing to sacrifice all the time. Of course, there's more than just that meaning, but to me, it's one of the ingredients that are missing, and I've worked on multiple Vancouver games over the last few weeks, and this same aspect keeps coming up. They're not willing to always sacrifice themselves, and Quinn Hughes is, like we've seen his face recently. Yeah. He's willing to do it. Shout out to Zach Hyman also, who is probably having difficulty breathing today. But I do think the Vancouver Canucks need to work on those intangibles, the physical factor, and also the shot blocking.
Yeah, it's probably on Rick Tocchet's wish list anyway. But that's a good idea, Max. If people, you want to comment, what do you feel that your team will need in a Christmas gifts exchange?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
What needs to be under the tree?
Yeah. Just
Under the
comment
tree.
in here, and maybe we will have some ideas on our next episode. We can brought some ideas of what team and what are the teams are needing for the Christmas gifts exchanged in order to get through the season and far in the playoffs. Thanks a lot, Kev. Thanks a lot, Max, for this episode, and thanks to you to having been there with us today. If you want to hit that subscribe button, wherever you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, hit that subscribe button. It would be our Christmas gift from you to us, and we will really appreciate that. And we will see each other again on the next episode of Hyperdrive Hockey. Thanks a lot, and we'll be back.